The first thing is, give us a bit of background to yourself.
Okay, I've been at the club nearly 6 years now. I was working here, well actually I'd started coaching again, and I bumped into an old friend of mine, Tony Wilson, who was manager of the under-9s here at Wimbledon. They had two sides, and we were together at Fulham, and as I said, I was looking to start coaching again, and he said, well, you know, I've got an opportunity to coach with the under-9s, so I went down and I was just working voluntary for a year or so. Had a lot of success with that age group. They're our current under-15s, which you've probably read about, sort of 104 successive wins, etc. So I coached those boys. A couple of years in, Nigel Higgs, the director, come and was watching a game and asked Tony sort of how I'd come about being at the club. And then when we restructured the senior setup at the club, Nigel asked me on a trial basis if I'd help set up the new collaboration with Merton College. So I did that from scratch really. We got boys in, it was very last minute, we kind of had 4 or 5 weeks to get it going. And it was hard at first, but over a period of time we did well, and we got sides that did well in the Conference Youth Alliance League. And on the back of that, it's kind of all snowballed from there really. And last year, well, 18 months ago, I went full time with the club, and now I'm sort of head of youth. So from under 12s right the way through to the under 18s, it's up to me to make sure the coaching curriculum's right and push us forward.
Just take us through what it's becoming a centre of excellence now with the club, and what it means to have changing in finances.
Yeah, well, you've had the differences with academy status, centre of excellence, and there's a lot of confusion. People are sort of the outside don't know what's involved. So perhaps you could tell us the differences between the different levels.
Yeah, I mean we had massive success before. You know, when we were a non-league club, we had massive success with our schoolboy teams in success of winning games, etc. And to be fair, we also had massive success in keeping our boys. So, for example, our under-15 team, you know, at least 8 of those boys got offered contracts at pro clubs when we were still non-league, some of them from Premier League clubs. But because we had the coaching right and the boys loved it at the club and they understood about the club, they stuck with us and they've stayed with us. And thankfully now we've got promoted, we've now got Centre of Excellence status, which again, because of going in through via the playoffs, we only had 6 weeks to set it up, which was a mammoth task. As you imagine, clubs like Aldershot, I believe, took 2 years to get it going. So that shows you how good our structure was before. So now we've got Centre of Excellence status, which means we can put all our boys on contracts. So our boys are now protected. So instead of me having to kind of persuade them to stay at the club, this is the club to be at. They're all on contracts now, so they're protected. As regards to the standard of the football, obviously a big step up. So now we're playing Millwall, QPR, Brentford, all those kind of teams. So it's going to be a step up, and it's been a big step up for our senior boys as well, just in the tempo. And obviously you go to these clubs, their facilities are fantastic. You know, we're working on limited resources at the moment, but we'll get there. You know, it's going to take a bit of time, but from what I've seen, some of our age groups are going to cope fine already. Others it's going to take a little bit of time, but we'll get there.
You mentioned about resources. I mean, until now, I presume with the Centre of Excellence status, there's outside funding. Until then, has it all been trust and club funded?
It was all come via the club, which has been fantastic, and obviously parents pay their subscription fees as well, which we've had to keep going, to be honest. So even though we get funding from the Football League, to be honest, that just about covers wages and stuff like that. There was still a massive amount of money to be found, so we still had to keep the subscriptions going for the time being. But it just means that the boys they've got assistants now, so they've all got full-time coaches, fully qualified coaches. They get assistants. We've got an extra session in on a Friday, so they kind of get 2.5 sessions a week now. We have physios on site, which we have to have. So there's been a lot of cost in that respect, so extra cost for pitches and obviously officials and all that kind of stuff.
How about the boys' education into this? And you're able to bring the boys in a lot more often now as well? Yeah,
with the senior squad, the way it works, we still run a programme. We've still got kind of 3 teams at the moment, so I've got 40 boys here with the senior boys. They all attend Merton College. Within that we have 9 scholars. Now those scholars, we've based on what we've seen. A couple of the boys have come via, we're already with me, so we have some second-year scholars, 3 second-year scholars, and then we have 6 other boys. Now, some of those were with us at under 16 level, and others we've taken from outside. So now with those boys, there's slightly more football and sort of less education. The other boys on the programme, the other 31, is a bit less football and more education, but I still get those 3 times a week, and they play on a Wednesday. And then the scholar boys, they literally train 5 times a week, and they play on a Saturday, although they can play on Wednesdays as well. And obviously the better boys, or the boys that are doing well on a Wednesday, they get the opportunity to step up and play in the Youth Alliance League on a Saturday. So for this year, we think it's good to keep that scheme running, because we found that you do get boys that once you start training them 3 to 4 times a week, they can develop massively. To give you an example, Marcus Scale development squad, 10 of those boys come from our academy from last year, and those boys were with me just training the 3 times a week. They've all stepped up, and and they're doing really well. And 3 of those have stepped up early as well, a year early.
You talked about the first team and the development squad. Can you talk us through the structure of the youth setup underneath that?
Okay, so obviously we've got first team, then we've got the development squad with Marcus, then we have the senior boys, which is the 40 boys with me, and that's broken down from Youth Alliance, playing in the Youth Alliance on Saturday, to playing English Colleges Premier and Conference Youth League Premier. So we've got those boys, as I said, training 3 to 5 times a week. Then we go down to our schoolboy structure, which is from under 16s right the way down to under 8s. And again, all those lads come in, it works out about 2.5 times a week. And as I said, all those lads will be on contracts. So they're all on contracts with us, and they work through our technical programme over that period of time. So what we're looking for the schoolboy structure is we really want to avoid churn. We want to be different to other centre of excellence. We don't want to be churning players in, churning players out. We want to get the squads to the best standard we possibly can, and then we want to work with those boys over a period of time, because we believe if you're genuinely going to produce players for this club and make them understand about Wimbledon, then we need to have those boys over a long period of time. So with all due respect, we don't get the cream. We're not going to get the real cream players, but what we do, we will get lots of good players, and it's up to us and the coaches over that period of time to work on every aspect of their game.
It's just worth saying, it's just the start of things. How do you see things progressing in the future? Where do you want to take us to next, the next level?
Well, I believe if we get the coaching right, and I know from what we've done with the under-15s and only working with them twice a week, and as I said, the massive success they've had, and they've already stepped into Centre of Excellence football and beat Crawley last week 2-0, and they played their under-16s, they played a year up. I know if we get the players, get the squad strong enough, and we get the coaching right, I honestly believe that our Centre of Excellence will be as good as anywhere. We won't be able to match facilities sometimes, but to me it's about the detail in the coaching. A lot of Centre of Excellence rely on recruitment and networking. We don't want that. We want boys that understand about the club. They get coached properly, they get nurtured properly. Just because they got a couple of weaknesses, we don't let them go. For me, if we have a boy for 6 years and we can't improve his weaknesses, then we shouldn't be here. So, I would like to think within 5 years there's no reason why Wimbledon fans aren't looking out on the pitch and at least half that side is homegrown, and I honestly believe we can do that.
You talked about other clubs having the resources and the networking and the larger catchment areas, even overseas. Yeah. What areas does Wimbledon focus on attracting young players from?
Well, initially, Jeremy Sawyer is our Centre of Excellence manager. It kind of starts more at the under-7, under-8 age group. That's where we want to get the stronger boys in. So Jeremy would be looking for sort of southwest, southeast London and Surrey. That's where our main recruitment comes from. So we'll be looking at those areas to get the good players in at under-7, under-8, under-9. Get those squads as strong as possible, and then it will be about keeping them. And to be honest, with regard to other players coming in, now we've gone Centre of Excellence, you naturally get such an influx of players coming to us now. Now we're a Football League club, so you get boys who have been released from West Ham, wherever, Tottenham, Arsenal, who do actually come to you. But we're already seeing it doesn't mean those boys are better than what we've got. We've stayed loyal to the boys we've got here, and that doesn't mean we do need to improve the standards, but I think it's a little bit of a myth that just because you've been released from a Championship or Premier League club, you're going to be better than what we've got. We've already seen that that's not the case, because at the end of the day, they've been released for a reason. We want to be loyal to our boys as long as they meet the standards that we're setting them, and those standards will be incredibly high.
Can you give us a typical training day or even a week as a young player under your tutelage?
So we're talking the 16-year-old boys? Yeah, so they will come in. A scholar, for example, will come in Monday and Tuesday afternoons. Then Wednesday, if they're not involved in a game in the Conference League, they will they will then have a session with John Phillips, who's one of my assistants, and that will be based around strength, agility and speed, or any other weakness we think they need to work on. So that will be more directed for them individually. Thursday they come in again and they will have a technical session with me. Now again, that will go from range of passing, technique on passing, heading, anything at all, plus anything else that we feel they need to work on. So they get Wednesdays and Thursdays more separate to those boys, and then a Friday again, like we are today, they come in here today where it's all about fast tempo, high technique sessions, pressing, moving the ball quickly, and they join the rest of the boys in with that. So the Scholar boys are in 5 days a week, and then they play on a Saturday. The rest of the boys are in 3 days a week.
Take us through a quick idea of what's going on in this particular exercise?
Yeah, it was just a warm-up now, Jeff. We just basically get the boys warmed up initially, so we start it off slowly and then we get into quick, short, sharp stuff. So the boys have a 10-15 minute slow warm-up, going through a range of stretches, dynamic stretches, and then John at the moment, the stuff he's doing now is more short, sharp. It's about the boys coming off their front foot, not taking a little step backwards, so it's more about powerful, dynamic sprinting. So
it's being fast over that first couple of yards.
Over that first couple of yards, yeah. So John speaks to Jason down at the first team training ground, and he gives him a range of exercises as well that the boys will do just to get that little bit of sharpness over the first 5-10 yards.
Okay, so what have we actually got going on here then?
Okay, so this is just a drill, and it's about quick combination play. It's about timing your run, and it's about how quickly can we play. So basically, it's about the boys giving that movement of spinning out, timing their runs, reading the play, and basically how quick can we play. Now, once you go into the detail of the passing, when they get it right, if the detail of every pass is right in front of them, then they'll be able to play very quickly. As soon as the detail's wrong on the pass, people having to take steps back, the weight isn't good enough, then everything slows down. So basically, it's just working on the fine detail of the pass. Once they get good enough at it, then we ask them, can they be a little bit clever sometimes, can they do something a little bit different? But basically it's about weight of pass, movement, communication and detail of pass. And then we take this into a game where we have two teams against each other, and one of them's trying to play quickly. It'll be 6v6 in a tight area, trying to play quickly, while the other team are pressing, trying to make it very, very tight. So then they're trying to counteract each other on a 15-minute game situation.
I'm doing behind myself. It's a shooting drill. There's 3 stations. It starts off as a 1v1, so the striker goes through the goalkeeper. So it's unopposed, so they expect to hit the shot on target. Then it progresses to a little set, so you turn, ball's coming into you, you receive the ball, it's got to be a first time set, and you're setting up your teammate. And then the third part, the final part, is the person with the ball comes out and you play a 2v1. So you're opposed this time. It's a 2v1, and it's about decisions, making good decisions, good technique, and trying to play as quickly as possible.
The first drill that we used there was a very simple pass and follow drill, and the idea is 1, accurate passing, 2, a good first touch from the player, and 3, the movement of the player. So they went straight to begin with, and then the players came off at an angle, showed an angle, ball played in, and they got the ball passed back. And as I say, what we're looking for all the time in that is a good first touch and a good pass. The drill that's happening now is a 3v3 in the middle. The 3 players the 3 players in possession in the middle have got to try and keep the ball against 3 defenders. If they lose it, the other team become the attackers. Okay, players around the outside they can use as a wall. And again, the same things we're looking for. We're looking for a good first touch. We're looking for good passing. And in a minute, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about spinning out. So the players give the ball, and once they give them the ball, they spin out of the space, and when one of their teammates comes in for the ball.
the difference that Jason Moriarty's made with the fitness side of things to the first team squad. Obviously, there's got to be a careful balance with how you do that with the youngsters, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, Jason is great. He comes down and advises us on stuff. And you've probably heard us in the warm-up. We're talking about everything has to be off the front foot. And Jason gives us advice on that kind of stuff, things that we need to take forward. And because John, who's one of my assistants, he's Marcus's coach with the development squad, so he's in constant contact with Jason as well. So he will bring stuff forward. But Jason will tell us what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. For those boys, for example, we found with a lot of our boys coming in, their core strength is very poor. A lot of that's down to modern day living, so we've got to work on their core before we start moving on to sort of upper body strength and stuff like that. So, you know, everything's monitored by our physios here, and we talk to Jason. We've also managed to get a link with Virgin Gyms off our own back, so we've got a couple of guys there again, talk to Jason, and they come down and they're going to do speed and agility work, bring down parachutes and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we've got great support from the club, but because we are a bit limited on resources, we have to think outside the box a little bit and try and get links outside, which we've managed to do. You know, so it's working well.
How about some up and coming names for us? Names to look out for in the future, perhaps.
It's I don't really like doing that, to be honest, because obviously people are going to see this, but there are lots of good youngsters. I mean, what would be great is for you Wimbledon fans to see the boys yourself and make up your own mind. I mean, every Sunday now there'll be 3 to 4 games going on down at the first team training ground, so I believe that those games are going to be available for season ticket holders to come and watch. So, you know, it'd be nice if we could have some fans come down, and I think you'll see some of the talent we've got down there. But just to throw in a couple of names, if you're going to make me, we got our under 15 goalkeeper, for example. You know, was off a contract at Chelsea and wants to stay for Wimbledon. All he wants to do is play for Wimbledon. His name's Billy Bishop. Got a young lad out here called Jake Gill, who's got day release from school to join us. He's only 14 again. Watched the 16s a couple of times this week. A lad up front called George Oakley, who showed loads and loads of promise. And within the squad here, you know, we've got some real boys with some real talent. I believe you'll be chatting to one of them, Sir Will Nightingale, who has been at the club since under 10, and he's a young 16. He's almost young enough to be at school. Boy's got tremendous energy, great tackler. So, you know, I believe over the next 2 years we can work with him, and he's got a real chance. But there's lots of them, to be honest, and until you work with him intensely over this 2-year period, you never quite know how much they're going to progress. We've got another scholar lad, Carl Williams, who's already scored 3 goals in the Youth Alliance, and to be honest, when I took him on, I never dreamt that he'd be a scholar. But over this training 3 times a week, he's absolutely flown. He's got a hell of a lot of work to do still, but he's flown. He's doing really well.
We like to think as Wimbledon as a special football club in more than one way.
Yeah.
The youth players and players under your direct access, are they aware of the background to the club, and how ingrained is the club within their psyche, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, Jeff, we constantly go on about it. I mean, they have an induction day when they come here. So they meet Terry, they meet Ivor. So you know, if they meet Ivor, you know exactly what Ivor's going to tell them. We constantly go on about it. I mean, we lost to Millwall at the weekend, and I had the boys in for 3 hours yesterday. No football, telling them what's expected. Because there wasn't enough desire, there wasn't passion. Although I'm heavy on technique and producing technical footballers, they've got to have that Wimbledon desire, that Wimbledon passion, and understand exactly what this football club's about. So we get into them as early as we possibly can. And I don't want to harp on about the 15s, but a lot of their success has been based on the fact that I've been with those boys for 6 years, and we've constantly made them realise that this is the club to be at. We're a club that produces young players. How special the club is, the story of the club, the history of the club, and I promise you interview those boys, they want to play for Wimbledon, no one else. That's all they're interested in, and that's what we want to do throughout the club. And there are lots of boys that do understand it. They get handbooks. Each boy gets their own individual handbook, and this goes right down to under 8. In the front of that handbook is a history of the club, tells them exactly about what we've gone through, and basically we just constantly keep getting inside their heads continuously, so they realise.
You say it works both ways. I mean, the supporters would be absolutely overjoyed to see players coming through from the area representing the team as well. It'd be fantastic. Yeah,
no, exactly, and that's exactly what we want. And I believe if we get inside there, because of the kind of club we are, it will give us that extra edge. So everything we do lack a little bit, so we can't match, you know, your Fulhams, etc., in resources and facilities. But at the end of the day, all I need mainly is a ball, cones and goals, and lots of passion from the coaches and attention to detail. And I've got a great team of coaches down here who are under massive amounts of pressure from me and Jeremy to be the very best. And I think with the story we've got, I honestly believe we will do it. I'm very confident, as I said, within 4 or 5 years, you'll be looking out, seeing lots and lots of homegrown players, definitely.
One question aside from the pure football side of things, one thing we see from the commentary box, of course, is coloured boots and things like snoods and football fashion. What do you think about coloured boots and stuff like that?
Oh, Jeff, you're probably talking to the worst person. Where do I start? If I had my way, they wouldn't wear anything other than black boots, but I'm told that's a little bit excessive. But when they play, any boys that play for me know the tape. Our colours are blue and yellow, so you don't see any white. If you do, they have to take it off. No undergarments at all. No anything, basically. We play in blue and yellow, and as far as I'm concerned, that is it. If I could get it to blue and yellow with black boots, that may be a little bit another 18 months away. But in the ideal world, that would be what I'm looking for. There's too many people who hang on. You know, you see wristband. You know, when I played, you were ready in 10 minutes. You know, kit on, pads in, pulled it up, socks down. Now I see them putting tape around their wrist, and to me it's, you know, I'm probably being a bit harsh, but it's a sign of weakness. To me, when you go out on a football pitch, all you need to worry about is what you're going to do. The less things you need to think about, little charms and little good luck this, good luck that. What if things go wrong? What do you turn to? And at the end of the day, you have to turn to yourself and your own mental strength. So, you know. So no, you won't see, if the fans come down and watch our young teams, you won't see anything other than blue and yellow.
But that comes down from the first team, doesn't it? I mean, Terry expects that from his first team squad players. There are certain things that have to be met, don't
they? Yeah, definitely. And it goes right the way through the club, from Terry down to Marcus and down to me. And as I said, I'm really hot on that stuff. And to be honest, some of the boys who come in new, they're shocked by it. But it's the way it is. It's the way it is.
So first off, just introduce yourselves and give us a little bit about your background.
Well, my name is Dwayne Lindo. I'm 17 years of age. Been playing football for quite a short time. Started at under 15s level. Came straight here. AFC's nourished me. I'm just playing my game now.
Hi, I'm Will Nightingale. I'm 16, first year scholar. I've been playing for AFC since under 10s. I came here through mates at school and they just told me to come down and give it a go. I've been here since. AFC's treated me well and I've just liked it down here and I want to stay here as long as possible.
We hear about sort of other players coming and approaches from other clubs. How attached are you to Wimbledon? How much do you get the club and how much do you feel for the club?
Well, I think what this club's based on is you really get a feel for it straight away. Like as soon as you come here, you really know what it's about. They give you like certain information on how the club was, and you really get a feel for it. Like your heart goes out to the club straight away, so you fall in love with it straight away.
And it's a fans-based club, so that's always a good thing. And the coaches, they always teach you to do the right things. It's not always about the facilities. It's always about what the coaches are like, and they're good coaches.
Yeah, not looking at anybody over there.
Dwayne, you've been sort of just on the fringes of the senior academy team with Marcus Gill's development squad.
Yeah.
And you could see, I mean, Marcus has said to us that you can see the first team squad just a little bit away from you on the other training pitch.
Yeah.
You can really see and feel that incentive to want to sort of step up your game and to be a part of that.
Yeah.
One question it occurs to me is how difficult is it to juggle the football side with the academic side as well? I mean, it's a tough trade-off.
Yeah, well, I think basically, if you need to know what you want in life, and basically you want to be a football player, but obviously you could get injured. So anytime, any moment there, that's it. Your football career is over. You need to have that backup plan. So me, basically, when I'm in college, I'm just trying to focus. I'm just trying to get the grades and just try to stay up with football as well.
I'm trying to get my head down in college and just do well, but my first priority is the football. But even though the education is still important, my football is, I want to become a professional football player, so yeah.
Have you seen the first team play that often, or you're too busy with your own careers looking after those?
Throughout the years, I've gone to go watch the first team many times. I've just seen them developing and getting better year on year on. So I think we're always on the rise.
Yeah, definitely. I was after Manchester, of course, was the single biggest rise of any.
Yeah. Well, the coaches, they're always asking us, do we want a ticket to go down, so if we're free or not, then we can go down, or if we're playing, then we play.
Were you fans of the club before, or do you have sort of Premiership clubs you supported and then you've drifted more towards Wimbledon afterwards?
I actually support Arsenal, but Wimbledon's like my second choice, and obviously I've got a love for the club now. It's quite local, so get a love for the club.
I support Chelsea, but I'm always looking out for the AFC results on Sky Sports, and they've always been my second team, and well, I'm more probably supporting Wimbledon now than Chelsea. So,
do you have any heroes, on and off the pitch, football players, past and present, perhaps?
My hero, I'd say Patrick Vieira. Definitely. He's inspired me a lot.
I'd say mine's probably Frank Lampard.
Whether we don't end up eating like him.
Just with Wimbledon, of course, I mean, you can see some of the lads that have come through from Jack Turner, Ryan Jackson, Brendan Keenan and so on. So you can see that there is a route through if you apply yourself to the first team squad,
Yeah, Terry Brown, he's come down to us and he said that he always likes to get the younger players like come in and get a bit of experience, so hopefully if we get the chance we can step up and play well.
Yeah, well, me personally, I've had a little taste. Mark's given me a good opportunity in the first team squad. I've played like a first team trial where I've really got a feel for it. I know how close I am. Just need to keep on going and try and get that spot.
You've said you had aspirations, but naturally you want to be a professional footballer and be as high as you can. How far do you think you can go? Where do you see yourself in a few years' time?
Still at Wimbledon.
Championship, League One, perhaps?
Wherever it takes me, I think I can go all the way. I really do. I think I can develop much under my coach. I think he's a great coach. I think I can go as far as where Wimbledon can take me. I think I can go.
I'd like to stay at Wimbledon because obviously they're coming up now. They're on a high, and what they've done is 5 promotions in like 8 or 9 seasons. So I'd like to just stay at Wimbledon.
You know, there's a lot of sacrifices involved in getting to there.
I've already had to sacrifice like doing A levels at school to be a part of this, and so I really want to make it now.
Well, that's good. So we wish you the best for the future, and hopefully we'll see you in the first team squad, and perhaps we'll be commentating on WDON soon as well. Thanks very much.
Okay, with us now, AFC Wimbledon midfielder Jake Gill, and part of that fantastic under-15 squad. Just take us through that. Remind us of what you achieved.
I think two years ago we won the National Cup, and we ended up playing at Pride Park, Derby, in the Reebok, Bolton's ground. We won at Pride Park, semi-final 2-0 and final 2-0, but we lost at Reebok against Ireland. We dominated. Just came down to penalties, which we slipped up on.
Because you actually represented England at that point, weren't you? It wasn't just a regional thing. It went from county and sort of up to regional.
Wales were there, Ireland, England who were us, and Scotland. So it was good, really good quality.
Was it good to play in a stadium like that? Were there many fans there at all? I suppose you had families and
there was a couple
friends.
Of hundred, yeah. It was really nice. It was 15 minutes each way, so you couldn't really tell the actual result. But it was a really good experience.
Just talking about something that you're absolutely passionate about, obviously your football and playing for AFC Wimbledon.
Yeah. And
you've had other opportunities, I gather, that other clubs have been interested in you, but just explain why you wanted to start learning with Wimbledon here.
The training is fantastic, and it's really, everyone's really nice and friendly. And, I get day release, which is really helpful. So I just love it here. Yeah, when you go to the stadium, the atmosphere is great. Matches are great, so it's really good.
That's key, yeah. I mean, just give us an idea of your sort of academic work, how you balance that out with your football career.
I get half a day, so I miss 2 lessons, but then I get on my work in the morning, which I do at home, so I take to my teacher the next day. So it's just quite good.
And have you noticed in sort of just this summer, I mean, the fact that it's happened not just for AFC Wimbledon at first team level, but how it's filtered down, the club becoming a centre of excellence? Have you noticed sort of what sort of changes have been going on since this season?
We went 101 games unbeaten in the Surrey Youth League, which was not. Some games we were winning really easily, so it's a lot harder challenge. So it will help develop us a lot more. We got an extra training session every other week, which is really good. Just working on our touch and movement. It's improving lots.
Do you have much of a background as a fan? I mean, you travel to Manchester for the playoffs as well? Did you feel more part of it then as well?
Yeah, it was really good. I went up with 2 boys from my team, my mum and one of her dads. We sat right by the goal, which was really good. Obviously the penalties were down our end, so it was fantastic.
Yeah, we went through different emotions that day. We were in the Luton then anyway, so doing the radio commentary. But yeah, it's in some ways it brought a lot of the club more together as well. That single one game, that one step.
Fantastic. Atmosphere was unbelievable. Like when you started walking up towards the stadium, you could just hear it get louder and louder, which is fantastic.
Do you feel in a few years' time that could be me?
Yeah, I do.
You see yourself sort of progressing through. I mean, what career aspirations do you have then?
Just all I want to be is a footballer. I just want to play football. So hopefully Wimbledon. That's dead fun.
And one thing we've asked the other guys as well, do you have any heroes in football or players you might model yourself on?
I like Steven Gerrard, I was really liked. Hopefully the new Steven Gerrard.
Well, that'd be good. A transfer fee would be quite useful, don't it?
And you can see the route through, can't you? Through to Marcus Gale's sort of development squad even. I mean, there's lads involved now that have been sort of managed to play in some of the pre-season games, like Jake Rose, Brendan Keane, and you can sort of, that's where you want to be in a couple of years' time, hopefully, a few years to come.
Definitely. Be really, really good.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for you. Hopefully we'll see your name appearing on the team sheet very soon. So thanks very much, and best wishes for the future.
Thank you.